Settle for the details in the bulletin. Now, there's a full-blown conflict between the Speaker of Parliament and the presidency. None of the president's recent nominees for ministerial positions will take office anytime soon, as the Speaker says a pending Supreme Court case makes consideration and approval of the nominees impossible. Now, this is a direct reply to the presidency after it indicated that the anti-gay bill will not be signed into law unless pending cases of the Supreme Court are dealt with. Listen to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbin, on the matter yesterday.
Be that as it may, honorable members, I also bring to your attention the receipt of a process from the courts titled Robson Nelson Eche K. Dafiamapo versus the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General. Suit number J1/12/2024, which process was served on the 19th, that is yesterday, March 2024, and an injunction motion on notice seeking to restrain the Speaker from proceeding with the vetting and approval of the names of the persons submitted by His Excellency the President until the provisions of the Constitution are satisfied. In the light of this process, the House is unable to continue to consider the nominations of His Excellency the President. To use the language of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, quote, in the spirit of upholding the rule of law, unquote, until after the determination of the application for interlocutory injunction by the Supreme Court. Honorable members, this is the precedent that is being set by His Excellency the President for all Ghanaians to follow.
Well, the Speaker's response has generated lots of conversations. The Majority Leader, for instance, Alexander Apeyomakin, has described the Speaker's decision as disappointing. He says this does not bode well for the country's politics.
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker went beyond expressing this disagreement and rather pronounced judgment on what in his view was wrong. Mr. Speaker did not only stop there, he also used very unsavory words to describe Mr. President. We believe that in a democracy, we have a right to disagree on views expressed, but we do not have right to say things to denigrate another. This, we think, is very unacceptable. Now let me get into the main issue. Mr. Speaker said that Mr. President was undermining democracy and that he should have resorted to the Constitution in making certain communications to the House. We in the majority beg to disagree on the position taken by him. He said he was not going into the matter as that would undermine the outcome of same. But we all know that the very issue that was raised by Honorable Dafiamapo had to do with the continuing ministers who had been reshuffled to other ministries. The issue of constitutionality of certain nominees had been determined by way of they going through the vetting process, a report coming before the House for debate and final decision. So for me, these are two unrelated issues.
Well, away from that, the Electoral Commission has clarified that none of its biometric verification devices are missing, contradicting claims made by the opposition, the National Democratic Congress. At a news conference in Accra, the AC noted that 5 laptops were stolen from their custody, but they cannot be used to tamper with the December polls as their security systems have not been compromised. The Electoral Commission says all its biometric verification devices, popularly known as BVDs, and biometric voter registration kits, often referred to as BVRs, are safe, contrary to comments by the minority. However, 5 laptops have been stolen from the highly protected office of the Electoral Commission.
The Commission recently undertook routine servicing of its biometric voter registration kits. It was during this maintenance that we discovered the theft of 5 laptops from the biometric voter registration kits, not 7 BVDs as erroneously stated.
The Commission insists the stolen laptops cannot in any way tamper with security or the integrity of this year's general elections. A process they call end of life has ensured the laptop has no data of any voter.
The stolen laptops cannot be utilized for voter verification or registration. It remains just a laptop. As such, they cannot be used to compromise our systems and undermine the credibility of the upcoming elections in December 2024. At the completion of every registration exercise, all data captured are erased from the laptops in a process termed end of life.
The stolen laptops from the stores of the Electoral Commission has raised questions about the efficiency of the Commission's security architecture. The EC says its security has not been breached, but has gone ahead to beef up security.
We have a well-structured and a well-installed security system. Apart from the police who are there, apart from national security who are there, the Commission also has its own security. The Commission has also beefed up the security measures at where we are working.
The Commission says investigations are ongoing and they remain committed to upholding the highest standards of transparency and integrity. Noble Crosby Annan, Electoral Commission. On Accra High Court has sentenced Ebenezer Kwesi, a amazing apprentice standing trial for abetting the murder of UG Law Professor Emmanuel Bennett to 30 years imprisonment with hard labor. Now, Kwesi was convicted on his own plea by the court presided over by Justice Mary Mami Ekwi-Yanzu. The 29-year-old was committed to stand trial for abetment of crime to wit murder following the death of lead suspect James Nana Wamba in police custody, who was the houseboy of the late Professor Bennett. Professor Bennett was murdered at his residence at Adringano in 2020. The police had initially held 2 suspects, namely Ebenezer Kwesi and Opambo Eja Badun Kansa, for their involvement in the murder of the law lecturer following the death of the prime suspect James Nana Wamba in police custody. Now, Akusia Bene Kufu, the complainant, according to the prosecution, was the niece of the late Professor Bennett, while James Nana Wamba, the prime suspect, now deceased, was a cleaner in the deceased house at Adringano. Let's bring you some more stories this morning. Now, civil society groups are ramping up pressure on President Kufuor to immediately terminate what they describe as scandalous Ejapa mineral royalties deal. It follows the already $12 million spent on the deal and what the anti-corruption agencies say is ongoing negotiations still in relation to the botched agreement.
Taxed to manage 75% of Ghana's gold royalties from 12 mining companies, the Ejapa mineral royalties deal, according to many, was a crescendo of all things unholy in Ghana's ever-continuous dance with privatization of funds and national assets. The company, set up in tax haven Jersey, was also expected to enjoy tax reliefs, with the company's shares to be floated on the London Stock Exchange, with the nation receiving some 500 million cedis at the time to aid budgetary expenditure. The deal would be suspended, however, after then Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu's corruption risk assessment. Nearly 4 years on, the deal remained suspended, with key government persons hinting of its return. It was all quiet until the Minerals Income Investment Fund in February of this year revealed $12 million had been spent on the botched deal.
Because this was an IPO, and as honorable members are aware, for every IPO, consultants, etc. come in. The establishment of an office in the United Kingdom and also in Ghana, etc., come into play. So there have been expenses. The whole idea was for MIF to be reimbursed after the IPO. But as the IPO is now suspended, until that suspension is lifted, we can't move on with Ejapa.
How much have you spent so far in relation to Ejapa?
I'll get the exact figure, but it should be around 12 million. 12 million? Yes.
Dollars?
$12 million, right? $12 million.
The revelations has prompted fresh calls for the outright termination of the deal. The latest to make the demand are 14 civil society groups who insist the scandalous deal must be abrogated. According to the coalition of CSOs, they are aware of other Ejapa-linked processes that are ongoing, including negotiating a bilateral investment treaty and a double taxation agreement with Jersey, where the Ejapa Royalties Limited was intending to be hosted. It will not be the first time the call has been made. As to whether there will be a response this time round, only time will tell.
Moving on this morning, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is urging teacher unions to halt their strike and allow negotiations to proceed. Now, 3 pre-tertiary education labour unions have declared the industrial action, explaining government has failed to address their concerns regarding conditions of service.
The teacher union's collective agreement expired in 2020, and government has failed to sign a new one despite multiple engagements with them.
The inability of government and the service to complete the distribution of the laptops to all teachers is of concern. The rampant changes of the school calendar without recourse to negotiation with the teacher unions is affecting the smooth operation of the service. Pre-tertiary teacher unions do stand with our members and hereby declare a nationwide industrial action effective today.
The unions are concerned about delays in payment for teachers whose salaries have been frozen by the special prosecutor. Out of the 9,000 affected teachers, 4,000 have been declared for payment, while the rest are yet to be paid. The unions expressed further concern over the delays in the distribution of the laptops for teachers.
We want clarity on the issue. If you have found people culpable, let's identify the people you found culpable, explain to us what they have done. Those who have done nothing untoward ought to be given their salaries.
We sought to ascertain what the leadership of the unions expect before calling off the strike.
There is no commitment. Anytime you go, you don't see that people, the government side, they even have mandate to negotiate. There is nothing showing us that. And we are not going to school until our demands are met. We will stand by it, and we call upon our members to stand with us in this particular struggle.
Well, still on labour-related matters, Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Yaba, has urged government to take action to promote and protect the rights and interests of Ghanaian fishers. The union's policy launch for decent work in the fishing sector, he highlighted the industry's contradictions despite its crucial role in the country's economic livelihood and nutritional growth.
The fisheries sector in Ghana is crucial for economic growth, livelihoods and nutrition, generating $1 billion and contributing 4.5% of GDP annually. However, it faces challenges like forced labor, low income, modern slavery and poor living conditions. Secretary General of the Trades Union, Dr. Yalba, emphasized the need for a collective collaboration with various stakeholders to promote the rights and interests of fisherfolks.
We've come together today with all those stakeholders, including the Ministry of Fisheries, Ministry of Employment, Ghana Maritime Authority, Immigration Service, Naval Service. We are all together on this. And what we are going to do is to promote decent work in the fisheries sector, not only for those who go to sea, but also the women and men who make sure there is fish on our table for our dinner, for our lunch, or for our breakfast.
Director of Research, Statistics and Information Management at the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Ishmoni Ajay Brown, emphasized the importance of collective collaboration with various stakeholders to safeguard the rights and interests of fishermen.
This policy is not merely about protecting the rights of workers. It is about safeguarding the long-term sustainability and prosperity of our fisheries industry by fostering a culture of responsible stewardship and prioritizing workers' well-being. We can pave the way for a fishing sector that is not only economically prosperous, but also socially responsible and environmentally sustainable.
Some sports this morning. 2022 Commonwealth Games silver medalist Joseph Kome will have a chance to fight for gold in the final at the 2023 African Games after defeating his Algerian opponent on Wednesday evening. Mohamed Aite also won his semi-final bout. Bilishen has all the details.
Three Ghanaian boxers came to the Bukum Boxing Arena on Wednesday evening, searching for places in the final of the 2023 African Games. Janet Aqua unfortunately did not make it, getting the bronze medal, but two boxers, Mohamed Aite and Joseph Kome, managed to make it to the final, defeating their opponents quite easily. For Joseph Kome, in the 2022 Commonwealth Games, he had a chance to fight for that medal, but due to illness, he could not fight in the final. This time, he's open to get the gold medal in front of his adoring Ghanaian fans.
Good. I'm feeling good. This is the time for me, so I'm feeling blessed. For sure, because this is the time I have to prove myself. You know, the Commonwealth Games is past. Now I'm coming to do it again. I believe that I can take the gold to Ghana, that's all. It's not easy, but I'm feeling like I can knock my opponent, but it cannot come true. So I have to do some strategy, and my fans will believe that I can take the gold.
On Thursday, the remaining four Ghanaian boxers will also fight for places in the final and hope of getting that gold medal that has eluded Ghanaian boxers in the African Games for the past 3 decades. In other disciplines, of course, there's hockey, where Ghana managed to make the final and they're expected to face Egypt on Friday. Also, there is the athletics, where the 4x100 meter relay teams for men and women managed to claim medals. For the men, they claimed silver, and for the women, they claimed bronze. Also, in volleyball, the men's team made it to the medal zone by defeating Nigeria 3-1. Bilishen for 3 Sports from the Bukum Boxing Arena.
And that's how we wrap up on the morning news on TV3. My name is Noble Crosby, and there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Please do well to log on. New Day continues right after this.